Hey everyone, this is Ryan Barton, and I'm presenting to you today on Guatemalan Americans because I have many members in my family that are from Guatemala. So I started this by talking to family members and then having it looked over with by a family member this morning who just kind of fact checked things and made sure that everything was accurate. So you're good to go. So just want to start off with having us do a little exercise. So what that'll look like is just pausing your screen and taking a moment to think of two things that come to mind when you hear Guatemalan. And that can be linguistic, it can be any random generalization or concept that pops in your mind. But if you could just pause your screen and write down two things that come to mind when you hear Guatemalan. All right, we're back. So now that you have those of your own to take into this presentation, I want to give my goals for coming in for this material. And the first is to break down any misconceptions about Guatemalan Americans. And the second is um, sharing enough to where you feel more competent serving the Guatemalans in your ESL classroom. So here we go. So to start off with the roots of the Mayan Empire, so they began in the Yucatan around 2600 BC, and they rose to prominence around AD 250. And then around AD 900, they started to decline in population size, and Mayan Empire started to take a downturn. And scholars have made some guesses at that of being either overpopulation, environmental degradation, warfare, shifting trade routes, or extended droughts. That made it to where um, that took us that takes us to 1521 when the first Spanish conquistadors made it to Guatemala, and it took from 1521 to 1697 for the Spanish conquistadors to conquer the Mayan Empire in the Guatemalan, southern Mexico, Honduras, Belize area. So that's kind of the origins of Guatemala, and we'll move on to the next about the country geologically. It's very mountainous. So here we have a couple pictures. You can see up in the top right corner, and then the bottom right, and now the bottom left, which is a picture I took on top of the highest point in Central America that looks out, and that's an active volcano in Antigua that was going off that I was able to capture. So very mountainous geology. Location, here we go with it located in between Mexico, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. So we kind of get an idea of where the Guatemalan Americans are coming from. And linguistic characteristics. So there are 21 Mayan languages spoke in Guatemala. And with that comes a lot of variation. So we'll go into three linguistic characteristics of the Mayan languages. And so the writing, that is actually like hieroglyphs. So try to think about something like in Utah, like the petroglyphs there, or in Egypt, the hieroglyphs. It's very similar as that. The next thing is syntax, which linguistically, the word order varies by language out of the 21 and rarely follows the same format as the English language. So it's really hard to pinpoint because between the 21 different languages spoken in such a small area, there is a lot of variance. And phonetically, the big distinction that you as an ESL teacher can make is the clicking. So oftentimes when a student is speaking in their Mayan language, there is a lot more clicks. And that is a clear distinction that they're speaking in a Mayan language and not as much in a Spanish, because Spanish doesn't use as many clicks as what is in Mayan. So that brings up the next point, that Spanish is the national language of Guatemala. However, it's oftentimes a second language. In bigger places, it's the first language, but that is something that I want to bring awareness to, is that Spanish is often a second language in Guatemala, and therefore it is easier to understand, and it's one of the best places in the world to learn Spanish, actually, because it's often the second language there. So what does this imply for our classroom? And this is the big point that I want to reveal, is that our students may have their first language as a Mayan language. So English would be their third language, and they're using Spanish to transfer English over to their Mayan language. So that requires a lot of extra processing time and some different techniques for us as teachers. So a lot to consider there, and be mindful of as compared to our Mexican American and Central American students. So as of 2017, there were 1.4 million Guatemalan Americans that were traced as coming from Guatemala. So on a few different reports, that's fifth and sixth out of Central American countries. So not a giant population, but in Shelby County schools, it is. So it acquires like it's one of the top 3 in a lot of ESL classrooms, along with Mexico and Honduras. So the 3 aspects about culture that I want to cover is, the first is just that familial aspect. So there's large families and a big emphasis on family responsibility. So students will oftentimes have a lot of responsibilities expected of them from their parents early on, which could include farming, chores, textiles, clothes washing. And this is part of the culture and the family culture. And emphasis is placed on familial education, socialization, and non-formal education, with productivity, discipline, and determination ranked highly important. So the next thing we're going to see is food. And as we see in the bottom of our screen here, there's black beans at the very bottom with some queso on the top, along with eggs, fried plantain, avocado, and tortillas. And so this is often found in at least one meal of the day in most areas of Guatemala, and that transfers over to Guatemalan American dishes here as well. And for the third thing is religion as influence on Guatemalan American. And so that's going to be coming from majority Catholicism, and then behind that Protestantism. So very Western influenced religion as well. And the last thing is communication in the home. So that L1 is going to be either Mayan or Spanish. So that goes back and forth depending on the family and where they're from in Guatemala. And so what does this mean for our classroom? So the first thing is that there's going to potentially be gaps in our students' education. And the reason is because in Guatemala, it's not enforced for parents to have their kids go to school. So in America, it's illegal. There'll be big consequences if parents don't. But in Guatemala, that's not a thing. So oftentimes students will have multiple years. I have family members who have multiple years missing. So the second aspect is lack of resources in our for Guatemalan American students, and that was tied in as well to the gaps in education, because in Guatemala, many of the affordable schools are government owned, yet they don't provide books, and so parents have to buy the books, and essentially they can't afford to, so that puts a hindrance on their education and the materials that they can use. So the last aspect that we need to consider for our classroom is, will translation from English to Spanish be helpful? Because a lot of us will have access to translators or Google Translate, and some of us have the linguistic backgrounds to flip back and forth, but is that going to be effective for these students? And the answer is sometimes, but don't have the expectation that it will be all the time, because oftentimes students do speak a Mayan language. So here's a little list of do's and don'ts. First one is with nonverbals. Eye contact is very similar to America, and the normal greetings and goodbyes are the same. The next is treat them as good people, good humans. And the last is to communicate more slowly, because it does take more time to transfer between those three languages. And for the don'ts, we have not stereotyping them as Mexicans, and not assuming that since they're from Central America that they know Spanish, or that Spanish is their first language. And same for English. And also, don't speak too fast. So big idea here is that Guatemalan Americans are different than other Central American students. So that's the big idea. Hopefully from this presentation you have some new things that you can add to your list, or maybe something that challenged your prior conceptions about Guatemalan Americans, and hopefully you have at least one or two takeaways from taking this time with me. So look forward to continue learning with y'all, and talk soon. Cheers.